When something goes wrong in your batch production environment, you need to respond fast due to the short batch windows. Let's say we've got a batch job that's ended with a SOC 7, a data exception. How can we leverage your Compuware tools to resolve this quickly and get your batch jobs up and running again? We'll start in Topaz Workbench. I'm in JES Explorer, and I can see that we have a job that's abended with the SOC 7. The best thing to do then would be to make sure to see what we can find out from ABENDAID. Open up the ABENDAID viewer, again within Topaz Workbench, to make it nice and easy for us so that I can see what's going on. I'm going to move this up here, and I'm going to resize this just a little bit. We need to get the fault summary, so we'll click on that. We see we have a fairly large list of jobs, so rather than scroll through all of that, we'll just filter that down to the job name. Don't need to type the whole thing in, just get the filter down. And there's the job. We'll click on that. We see we have two there. We're going to take the most current one. I'm going to go to the menu, and we're going to click on Diagnostic Summary. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and so we can get into the actual root cause of this problem. We can see it was a data exception, occurred on line 79, and it's a computational statement involving 3 different fields. Those 3 fields are listed down below, along with their picture clause. In this case, it's obviously a COBOL program. And we have a little hashtag, #, whatever you would like to call it, next to this emp hours. This is the field that's been flagged as being in error, and we can see that it has a value of hex 5BF7, which is obviously not a numeric field. 5B would translate to a $sign. So what we want to do now is we want to go back to our report menu, and we want to look at a file summary. We want to go into this file so we can determine what actually went wrong. Go into FileAID Edit. We'll have that session open up over here, and we want to do a find on the value of 5BF7. We need to make sure that we click the hex box, and we'll do a find all. Could be more than one occurrence of that. In this case, we only have one occurrence of the 5BF7. We'll close off the find window. So now, as we're looking at this, one thing we can probably note is that the $sign is actually an uppercase 4. Since we know this is a numeric field, and it was the number of hours the employee worked, it's a good chance that this was typed in error. Maybe somebody hit the shift key when they hit a 4. So we could simply change this and make it a 4 with the proper approvals, of course. Or there's a good chance that if they did it once, they may have done it more than once. So we'll use FileAID Search. I'm going to do a quick little edit here. We're going to look in position 6 for one character for the value of a $sign. That's this particular one right here. We know it's here, so we know we're going to at least find one record, but there may be more. So let's go ahead and do a search here. And in fact, multiple records came up. We have the one, record 9, which we were on, plus there's one in record 1 and one in record 57. Now we could just scroll through the file, making the change manually, or we could even do a change all. But if this is a large file, it's probably better to actually re-execute the FileAID Search. And we want to add an update. Obviously, we want to update the same field, and we want to replace it with a 4. So now we have, we'll search for the $sign, and we're going to replace it with a 4. So now we can click on Update, and we know that security is of utmost importance, so we're going to enable editing, or auditing, so that we have a trace of what we did in case there's any questions. Auditors would be able to go back and say, yes, in fact, this data was changed, and we have a good record of it and we know why. We could preview it, which would give us the same information, or we can simply say finish. It'll submit the search and update, and it's completed, and it tells you what the audit trail file is. So now we could simply trust that it did the update, or we could go back in and actually edit this file again, because this is just in memory and it doesn't reflect the changes. We can go in and we can run it again and scroll to record 9, and we can see that we did in fact in position 6 replace the $sign with the numeric 4. To be safe, we could search again, removing the update. Let's just search, and it comes back and it tells us that there are 0 records found. So now we can safely tell our operations staff to restart the job and get the job completed.